You're listening to Sorry You Went Viral, the podcast that's all about the stories that have been really blowing up on social media of recent weeks, and of course the people, the human beings behind those stories and the impact it has on them. My name's Hannah. Tim, you can see as well, as my co-host here, and we are so sorry that we've been away for such a big gap. It feels like we've kind of skipped summer and autumn, and we're kind of like sort of headfirst into winter now. Anyway, we are so sorry, but it's great to be back with you.
It is indeed. So we maybe change the name of the show to Sorry We've Been Away.
Yeah.
Not much has happened on social media in the last few months anyway.
People might be really grateful, let's face it. It's fine.
Probably grateful for a break from us. But anyway, on today's show, the power of radio, how social has been loving a son's shout out on the radio, from DMs to I do, and the clever couple from Cambridge who've been showing love for each other through their in-depth knowledge of each other's PhDs. First on the show, who says you can't have fun while waiting for a train?
Rocky my ball. I'm just pointing my face coming for What's going on? You got 4 minutes to do one people.
That's Fukn with the brown jacket.
One word. Film.
I love this video so much. Essentially, for those who were, watching and maybe can't see, they were playing a game of charades. Charades? Let's go charades.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not that posh. Charades at a train station, overground train station in London, and it was just kind of like off the cuff, just one people on one side of the train track started playing the game, and then the other started playing, joining in as well. Absolutely beautiful, natural, organic, just gorgeousness in London on a Friday night, I think it was. And the person who filmed it was another, train user. Passenger. There we go. Yeah. So she's presumably also at the end of a long draining week, and we're all a bit fed up with life at the moment, and the days are getting shorter and it's darker, and it's life's a bit of a grind at times. And Jeff filmed this, and she absolutely loved it. And then she posted her video. I think she posted it on. What did she post it on? Did she post it on
her Instagram? On
her Instagram, but it actually blew up at the end on Twitter, which we'll go into in a second. She entitled her initial video, "I Love London," which is great.
Yeah, on Twitter, it got picked up by a woman called _Ren27, who called it wholesome content on a Friday morning. So I assume it must be like a Thursday night, and then she saw it and posted it on there. That had nearly 5 million views on Twitter, which is extraordinary. And what I love is some of the comments, the replies to her post. And, someone says, Benjamin Pizer says, what a vibe. All we really want to do is connect with each other and play charades. And someone else called Encourageous Media saying we're pretty fucking awesome when there's no one to divide us. And that's pretty true. I mean, I'll be honest, I would be a bit awkward. I wouldn't start a game of charades myself, but I'd certainly join in if I saw someone else playing on the other side of the platform.
You would definitely join in if someone was kind of like, come on, let's lighten up this grim Friday morning. I definitely would. Anytime there's a chance for a game or a spotlight, then I'm in. But I love the fact some of the replies as well have been a bit cynical as well, like strangers being nice to each other on London public transport. Is this some parallel universe? Which, to be fair, for the majority of us who do sort of, commute or travel in all the time on Transport for London, they don't necessarily always get a bit of camaraderie and friendliness. But I suppose that's why it's just so lovely to see.
Yeah, I wouldn't try that at 8 a.m. on a Monday morning, to be honest. But you're right, it is lovely. And it was nice as well. Jess did a little follow-up video where she really called for more energy, community in London. Let's show you a little bit of it.
exactly this, and I'm so glad this video has been popping off all today, because this kind of energy we need to be seeing a lot more in London. Come on, we all want it, we all fucking want it. Look at all of the comments, everyone is just like, yes, this is great, it's restored my faith in humanity. Then let's just do it ourselves. We can't just sit around and wait for it to happen. Let's make these moments happen. I can't take any credit of what happened yesterday. I literally walked up to the station, it was already well underway, the game was happening. I think 2 people on my side of the platform shouted across to the blokes on the other side of the platform, you know, do you want to play? And that's how it started. And that's as simple as it is. That's all you fucking need to do. And even immediately after this game of charades yesterday, when, you know, the other platform got on their train and left us lot waiting for our train, you know, we were all chatting to each other. There was a bloke next to me. He had just moved to London. He couldn't have been older than 21, and he was so excited. He was like, oh my God, I've moved to the best city. This is amazing. We had a hug, you know, and this kind of energy, it just like pings about, doesn't it? Everyone feels good after watching this kind of thing. So maybe we should all just try and be a bit more silly. Even this morning, the group that were on the other side of the platform, they actually sent me a message on Instagram saying, oh, that's us. And they run this like wrestling podcast, and there's a wrestling event where I think they're like the hype men, commentators, that kind of thing. And they've invited me to the next event, and I'm going. Next month, I will be there. 2nd of November in Hackney, I will be there.
It's really nice, isn't it, of Jess? And I love her energy and enthusiasm for kind of trying to do more good and community spirit in London, and look forward to that meetup and hopefully another piece of viral content from them.
Next up on the programme, we've got an unlikely swing dancing duo. Now, obviously, Strictly is in full swing at the moment, and we know that all the celebrities and dancers have been paired together and they're forming all these relationships. But imagine going into a dance contest with someone you don't know and with music you've never heard before as well. That's what happened to this unlikely couple.
Let's go. Go can, cause I can. Go low, everybody get low. A couple hits and a couple solos.
So this is John Lindo and Victoria Henk, who, as you can guess, as you can see or hear, well, you can't see, obviously. Well, you can't hear, rather. You can't hear the dance. You can hear the music. But anyway, you know what I mean. That they're pretty good at dancing. The type of dancing that they're doing is swing dancing. It's specifically called West Coast swing dancing. And this was filmed. They were in a competition. And the video from it was by a TikToker called Affinity Swing. It's run by a guy called Harold Baker. It got 1 million views, which is like baffling. But Harold explained in the post, random partner, random song competition. And this was for the competition was called the Jack and Jill Champion or something. So they obviously, I assume they won. We don't know, but they were so good. And clearly they don't know each other. They'd never met before. They hadn't practiced. They hadn't rehearsed. And it was just like, you know, the power of dance. And if you know what you're doing, if you haven't got 2 left feet. Have you got 2 left feet?
Oh God, I'm terrible. I mean, the thought of
might.
Oh God, the thought of dancing in public, the thought of not knowing the song or the partner is probably my worst nightmare. But John is very, very good. I'm not sure if he's a professional dancer or, but he knows his stuff. And, you know, I loved on TikTok, there was a comment from a woman called Ali, or maybe a man called Ali, I'm not sure, a person called Ali, who says, John Lindo, king of dance and king of Riz. I mean, the moves he had, the way he was just be able to move around the dance floor was just astonishing.
We did, Lewis and I did a rehearsed dance for our wedding, our first dance. It was a full kind of like Charleston thing, quick step thing. But it took us forever, so many rehearsals. And then he's going to kill me for saying this, but he still got it wrong in the actual day. But yeah, so the idea of being able to just sort of like rock up, go out there and then just perform just because you know how to move your body is completely baffling to me, but I love it. And well done to them. And these affinity swing dance classes, for those who are watching and feel like they want to get their feet into gear as well, then apparently they do run classes. AffinitySwing.com. You can find out more there as well. See if you can be just like John,
and not like me.
Onto less wholesome and less healthy stories.
Yeah. Now, look, we don't need to tell you smoking isn't cool and it's bad for your health. But this guy has really been carving out a kind of content creation around his love of cigarettes.
I do say so myself. Certainly no complaints on my behalf. Certainly no complaints on my behalf.
Now, this guy is called Jacob Jones, or as his account handles are on his various profiles, Jacob Fukn Jones, missing the C, should we say. He dedicates his accounts to his love of smoking. In fact, I first saw him on Twitter, where this post, which you can see if you're watching on the video feeds, this post of him showing how many cigarette boxes he has in his room got 8 million views. This is entitled 5,840 cigarettes, believe it or not. And yeah, it may seem a bit strange, like why a guy smoking or post pictures of him smoking cigarettes being so popular. And I think what's really interesting is that video we showed you. It's called Day Drinking and Smoking Cigarettes in a Public Park at 3 p.m. on a rainy day. And that's pretty kind of straightforward, should we say, not exactly kind of the usual kind of content creation we see on social media, especially on YouTube. And I think what seems that people just really like the easy lo-fi content as opposed to all the intense kind of high production, Mr. Beast style, screaming, flashing kind of content that just is throughout and floods our feeds, really.
It's very honest, isn't it? Very authentic, as you know, unhealthy and unadvisable as it might be. It's very real, and I think it gives people a sense of connection as well, which is, you know, in this day and age when, like you say, everything's kind of like overly produced and heavy content side. This is just simple and a bit crap, but good because of that. One comment from at NY Vandal says, this is what YouTube was meant for in its essence back in the 2000s before Google bought it. No cringy, annoying influencers advertising crappy products, no cringy effects, and certainly no complaints on my behalf, that's for sure. So yeah, that's the general vibe from that.
It's true. I mean, also, I think Jacob's pretty clever at this. He's got it down to a T. I mean, that video is 40 minutes long, believe it or not. And in a way, I started watching it and I kind of got hooked in a little bit because it's kind of like this very almost ASMR-y style, just easygoing quality to it.
We should put it as our timeline cleanser.
Well, I'm not so sure. It kind of goes against the ethos of it, probably. But there's a comment from a guy called Renegade for Life, and it's got 15,000 likes. His comment alone goes, "Y'all see an unemployed dude. I see a free, unshackled man." You know, and it's definitely resonating with people. We should say as well, again, fully aware of the dangers of smoking, and Jacob, you know, he's conscious of that too, putting disclaimers at the start of his YouTube videos in order not to be banned from YouTube. You know, he basically says, I don't encourage or condone any products, actions or behaviours shown in this video. Please don't attempt to replicate any actions performed during this video. It's very clear, putting the kind of the terms and conditions and the warning beforehand, but still people kind of accept it and enjoy watching it.
Yeah. Now, we teased this at the beginning of the show. So this is a story is from DMs to I do. And one woman's tweet has gone viral from showing how she went from getting a DM, a direct message, to an I do, or to saying I do. So this is the tweet itself. Briona Manigat shared this screen grab of direct messages from a stranger 2 years ago. So the initial one was, look, this is random and you're new to my timeline, but I just wanted to let you know that my name is Nay and I wanted to tell you that you're gorgeous. So they go on to kind of have a bit of back and forth. Now that tweet got 41 million views. And then wonderfully, Brianna then shared more on her YouTube.
We're here now. You gotta know how we got here.
So, it all started March 8th.
Yeah.
March 8th, I made a Twitter. 2022, I made Twitter. And none of my friends really had Twitter. So I went through my sister's following, like a weirdo, and was looking at who she was following. So I started following people. Some people I knew, others I didn't. I just happened to like their tweets. And I came across this guy here, and like all of his closest friends.
It's because we're funny individuals.
They're hilarious. But I happen to keep going back to his, and I was like, wow.
Tell me why.
He's really handsome. And I sent the picture to my best friend. It's like 2 days after now. Sent the picture of him to my best friend. And I was like, I'm gonna marry this man one day.
Well, those two are now married 2 years on, which is wonderful. And they together make content for her YouTube channel. They even did a vlog of his proposal as well, hence the From DMs to I Do, the planning for the wedding and the big day as well. So, yeah, a lovely story. And, you know, it just goes to show you never know who you're going to come across on social media. And it doesn't always have to be a negative relationship going forward.
Well, I really like, there's a comment on Twitter from a guy called Royal Bobby 24 who says, from DMs to, and then shows the you've been blocked, basically, so you can no longer send block to this person. I mean, it's a pretty bold comment from the guy. His name's Nay. You know, you to random strangers going, I think you're gorgeous. I mean, normally that would kind of be warning signs for people. I'm sure if you know you're getting messages like that, you'd probably block them as well.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, definitely. Not least because I'm married, so. But yeah, no, I definitely would have done. But I also just think fair play to him. He's not saying anything. He's not saying anything rude. He's complimenting her, and you know, we all need different ways to connect with each other these days, and social media seems as good a way as any. So yeah, and I love the fact that they're you know, they're now a team. Obviously, they've got married, but they're also like, you know, producing more content for YouTube and documenting what their relationship is like. So I think it's really nice. It's the kind of content that people clearly want to see.
Yeah, and I think it's interesting. You know, Twitter gets a bad rap, understandably, for lots of reasons, but showing there is some good sides to Twitter still. And yeah, I think it's just it's pretty cool. 41 million views of that. I think it's pretty astounding, to be honest. But yeah, no, good luck to them for the future. Next, now this is another viral story of love. This time from a very clever couple from Cambridge University who show their love for each other with their in-depth knowledge of each other's PhDs.
Can you explain one another's PhD?
Oh, yes.
Another's PhD.
Can I start?
Yeah.
So Will is a physicist, and his PhD was on nanophotonics. The title of his thesis is ultra-fast, ultra-confined plasmon-phonon interactions. And that involved zapping laser at little bits of gold.
You're so cute. Very, very sweet.
Now, well, you've got to just like that.
Yeah, keep up. So Harum's PhD is in the rights of transboundary peoples. So she's an international lawyer. So she looked at, I want to say 8, maybe 9 case studies internationally of different communities that live on the edge of borders. Yeah.
Nice one.
Yeah?
Yeah, nailed it.
So this is Will and Harum, who are both collecting their PhDs at Cambridge University. The video of them talking so lovingly and in such an in-depth way about the other's thesis went viral after a simple video made by Cambridge University. It was then posted on TikTok. It had 4 million views there. And the comments on this are wonderful as well. Cici Ama shared on Twitter. I think, she shared the Cambridge University TikTok of the video on Twitter, and that alone then got 7 million views. But then some of the comments are like, they are in totally different and very unrelated fields, but you can tell they genuinely learned about it regardless. This is the style that'll have you bouncing your head every Sunday morning. And I think it's wonderful. They don't actually, if you break it down, they don't clearly know every single detail about each other's thesis. That would be absurd. But they know.
I was pretty impressed. But...
Yeah, they've taken the time to really understand, because you do a PhD, that takes over your whole life. I'm sure. I've never done one, but to have someone, your partner, to have someone who kind of knows how much time has gone into it and really appreciates that and has taken the time to not only listen, but to also try and understand, presumably, what it is you're doing as well. It's quite niche areas as well that they're both in. So yeah, really lovely. And you can just see from their body language as well, just that they're really enjoying hearing the other talk about the biggest thing in their life right now. It's they really appreciate each other. So it's a very heartwarming video to see, which I wonder whether Cambridge Uni even knew that was going to be the impact of this one video. Certainly some of the videos, some of the comments rather, were, if I apply for a PhD at Cambridge, will I also meet my soulmate? You wonder whether Cambridge have come up with a response to that yet, like a good way of getting more people to apply. I don't know, maybe.
Great. Yeah, I mean, fair play to them. They've certainly capitalised upon this fantastic story, whether they stumbled upon it or not.
Yeah.
Because in their TikTok, they have put details of their postgraduate courses as well. I mean, a great recruitment tool for them. I love some of the comments. There's It's Eep saying, this is the most romantic exchange I've ever seen. Angie M saying, the conversations in that house must be phenomenal. And then also, I found this quite funny from BGM going, OMG, they remind me of Benaya and Nicole from Love is Blind UK. Such beautiful interaction. Now, I don't know necessarily the levels of intelligence are the same the two, but the body language, how they're looking at each other is lovely. I'll be honest, I'm not sure if you try to film, my partner Carolyn and I asking about each other's day or what we'd be doing. I'm not sure we get the same kind of reaction. I don't know about you and Lewis.
Well, we have the benefit of having met at journalism school and both having, done the same job. He's doing it now. I'm not, as a newsreader, I'm not doing it so much now. But so I do actually think that I probably could talk in depth probably about what Lewis does day to day. I don't think he'd be able to say the same about me so much now. But I don't know whether we'd also kind of be gazing into each other's eyes and sort of quite so appreciative of the other's knowledge of the daily grind.
I think it's absolutely lovely, though. I think it's truly inspiring and very intelligent, really intelligent people going on to just some amazing things. I was just looking at their websites, their bios, because we tried to get in contact with them to see if they want to come in on the show. But incredibly intelligent people, so lovely as well. Clearly lovely people, and wish them all the best for the future. Now on the show, it's what it's like to go viral and the power of radio.
First up, we've had a lovely request come in from Darren Izzard. He says, we're celebrating our eldest Benjamin's 9th birthday today. We've got tickets to see Imagine Dragons next summer, which will be his first proper gig. And this is so lovely. Darren says, for context, when I bagged Oasis tickets last week, he said, so Daddy, is Oasis to you what Imagine Dragons is to me? And I guess he's kind of right. He says, can I get a happy birthday to Benjamin, please, and an Imagine Dragons track? Of course you can. Happy birthday to you, Benjamin. Imagine Dragons coming right up.
That, as you see, was Ben, whose probably week, year, was made by a shout-out on Absolute Radio by his dad, Darren, who I'm delighted to say is joining us now. Darren, could you just tell us exactly kind of how this all came about?
Well, pretty much as the clip plays out, Sarah puts it perfectly, really. Birthday gift, the announcement of the Imagine Dragons tour came about, and it just led on from something that Benjamin had said the week before. And initially we were just going to hand him a card with the tickets in. And I suggested, well, let's reach out to Absolute Radio because Sarah normally puts something out on a Thursday or Friday asking, like, what are you doing for this weekend? And it just kind of went from there, really, on Instagram. And I messaged Sarah and gave her the spiel. Obviously, didn't quite have the space to put the amount of characters in, so I did message saying, "Oh, a lot of DM'd," and pretty much word for word, and it kind of went from there really. And the actual reaction from it was pretty mad, to be honest. I mean, yeah, I wouldn't say it got out of hand, but it took Benj by surprise, as it did me and Mum as well. Yeah.
It's so wonderful. And Sarah, who you're talking about, is the DJ, right? Sarah Champion with Absolute.
Yeah, Sarah Champion, yeah.
And I know that she commented on the video afterwards, after seeing it, saying, so rare that we get to see the reaction, let alone such a lovely one, really special, made my weekend that. So, and you made so many other people's weekends as well with it, because it's got so many views. Did you expect that it was going to, if you posted it, that it was going to blow up?
No, not at all. I mean, when Sarah very kindly asked, would we mind that being shared? Benj was okay with it. He was okay to start with. He was like, yeah, that's fine. But then a couple of days later, I think a little bit of self-doubt crept in, because it obviously got quite a bit of traction very quickly. And I did say to him, I said, look, the genie's out of the bottle now. It's already it's out there. So there's not much more we can do with it. And the beauty of it was that, I mean, as I'm sure you guys will know, doing what you guys do, social media, the comments generally tend to err on the side of being a little bit more on the negative, and a bit on that toxicity can creep in. But it was just so heartwarming, the lovely responses. It was kind, it was generous, it was mostly heartfelt. There was one or two jokey comments about the dog and things like that, but generally speaking, me and Catherine, Benjamin's mum, we were really sort of taken aback by it, because you don't necessarily expect that with social media now, and I think that was hard for him to compute initially, and then it kind of crept, and then he was saying, well, what if it gets to 1 million views? and but again, it's unquantifiable numbers really in the grand scheme of things. But he's like a lot of kids are now. He's familiar because it's Mr. Beast and all the YouTubers and things. So he's familiar with that sort of scale. And his little brother Jacob, again, another character in all this that's been forgotten a little bit. He was kind of asking, so will you get to meet Mr. Beast and Elon Musk? And I'm sort of like, well, I'm not sure it's quite that. It's not at that level, but it's it's been something of a talking point in the household. I mean, the lovely thing about it has been as well that, I mean, with Absolute Radio is pretty much the station in the car, at home. So when Matt Dyson shared Sarah's tweet as well, Benj was quite thrown by that, because Matt's a voice that we hear in the car on the school run every morning. So that kind of resonated with him even more. And then obviously Ben Burrell as well. So pretty much all the daytime DJs are people that the boys are familiar with, so in one way, shape or form. So yeah, it's mad.
So you got
I was really sorry, go on. Sorry.
Content creator on your hands now for the future, which is great, and potentially also someone who's going to go, a kid who's going to go and make waves in commercial radio as well. I mean, it's amazing to me that commercial radio is flying the way it is at the moment, and that the younger generation are kind of like as into it as clearly your kids are.
Yeah, I mean, I could honestly say nowadays, bar one or two of the streaming services, I think radio is probably the most predominant medium that's in our household at the minute. The boys, music wise, I did expect one or two comments about Imagine Dragons, because again, they're quite poppy rock type stuff. Jamie East, another broadcaster, shared it, and he made a bit of a dig about I'd be crying too if I got Imagine Dragons tickets. But again, from my point of view, I've always really liked Jamie's work, so that was quite nice from a personal point of view. And I did message him and say, "Oh, that's my boy, that is." But yeah, I mean, he's very sort of, as a lot of kids are now. He's he's into his YouTube, and he watches a lot of sort of, when he was a little, Ryan's World when he was a little bit smaller, and he's kind of started to I mean, but that's how a lot of stuff's consumed now, isn't it?
Yeah.
How do I don't know how long, if you want me asking, how Benj is at the moment.
He's 9 now. Yeah, he's 9.
So in terms
just 9.
So he's like, with friends at school is one thing, but then obviously seeing just, as you said, like the genie out of the bottle, but
yeah,
lots of different people he's never known of commenting. It must be quite overwhelming, I guess, for him as well.
I think that's where he got a little bit, because he said to us, maybe we should have kept that for just us. They were the words that he kind of, but it was the horse had bolted at that point. It was kind of sort of, it was out there. So, but the most pleased thing I was, the following weekend we kind of had a belated sort of birthday celebration with some friends. He had a sleepover with a couple of friends, and he was really happy to show them. And despite it showing a bit of vulnerability on his part, he was happy for them to see that. And I thought he'd be a little bit cool about it and not want to sort of show his friends, but he was more than happy with it. And yeah, I mean, I saw lots of people in the comments as well, sort of tagging the band in, and I was like, oh. So who knows if they ever saw it? Who knows? Who knows?
You had to explain about the dog as well. You said at the beginning that you got a couple of comments.
So a lot of
in this.
So, well, the dog Bob, he's just asleep in the hallway at the minute, just to my right. So a lot of people watched it without audio. Now, if you watch that without audio, it is literally just an ecstatic-looking child. Probably looks a little bit angsty. He starts crying. He's looking at a dog and reacts accordingly. And I think one or two suggested that the dog had broke wind and things like that. So it was. But once it got to a point with so many comments, I mean, that first 2 or 3 days, we kind of we're just looking to see, because two things that jumped out at me initially were I expected him to get a little bit of stick for the football shirt he's wearing, and also for it being Imagine Dragons, because again, it's just a sort of polarizing thing, football and music. It's quite a, and it didn't happen. You know, it was just everyone was just really, really positive towards it, which, you know, we didn't expect. I mean, it's one of those things where you keep it. It's for yourselves and for Sarah, and obviously Sarah shared it. And I mean, I don't think, as much as I appreciate the works of the DJs, absolutely, I don't think that message could have been delivered any more concisely with, you know, the cadence, the delivery, the empathy, and all that sort of stuff. I think Sarah did an amazing job of just putting that message across. And Benj again, completely, you know, his reaction, as you saw.
Well, we're so grateful to you for talking to us, explaining the kind of the whole backstory and the kind of like the impact that it had on your son, on you, the whole family, the dog. You know, we can hear now in the background.
Yeah, that's because the post lady has just walked by, and he's got a bit of a love-hate relationship with the postal service.
No, don't we all? Darren, it's been so lovely to chat to you, and we hope that Ben just had a brilliant 9th birthday, and keep up the good work with Absolute Radio and all of the shout outs that you're doing there for not just for him, but you've got another child as well. Is that right? Yeah,
we've got Jacob. He's 6. So yeah, I mean, like I say, Jacob's he's going to the gig as well. So me, Mum, Benjamin, and Jacob, we're all going down to Tottenham Hotspur Stadium next summer. So we're all going.
You're going to have to share the love out a bit here with the shout out.
100%. I mean, but the reality is the major credit really needs to go to Sarah Champion, because it was just special. And also, bizarrely, Emil Franchi referenced it weekend before last again as well. So we just happened to be driving at the time, and then he mentioned it, and my wife reached over to the radio to turn it up, and I was like, what's happened? And then Emil Franchi re-referenced it, and he played a Imagine Dragons song as well. So it keeps going.
Yeah, so you're never going to have video off in your house. It'll be on 24 hours a day.
Yeah, they do. The boys do like their music, so that's something I'm really keen on. I'm really keen that I'm glad that they kind of embrace that medium a bit more than others.
I completely agree. And as someone who, throughout my daughter's childhood so far, she has got the odd shout out. Unfortunately, she started singing the jingles of Magic, another power station. So I can empathise. I can't beat that. That is something to get a shout out and a song played and getting that reaction. Something I won't be able to do. Won't be able to match that. But I think
it couldn't have gone better. To be fair, I
think it's just brilliant. And it's because it's so memorable. You're saying about how the other DJs keep on recalling it and people commenting, because it's so powerful. It's something that I'm sure, you know, when I was a kid, that's the thing I would love, and it's still now. And you can't beat that on Spotify or Apple Music.
Yeah, completely. I mean, when I was about 15. There was an old commercial station locally, Leicester Sound, which changed to Capital in later years. And I entered the competition and I won a Supergrass CD or something like that. And just little things that kind of stick with you. And just that kind of thing, really. Just sort of, those kind of things live forever. And it's just a massive memory that's we'll talk about for years.
I'm going to have to up my radio game with my son for sure. Darren, it's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you so much.
No, that's great. Thank you, Hannah. Thank you, Tim.
Thanks, Darren.
Cheers. Bye.
And finally on the show, the Timeline Cleanser. And this Aussie band, or this musician, I should say, went viral for playing a gig in a care home.
I like the way he's telling me my house looks good in these light blue jeans. My cheeks are red like cherries in the spring, but he's a work of art. die to see untouched ex or young lost. Let's when you're driving your car, I'm your baby, losing all my innocence in the backseat.
What a lovely little video. That is a guy called Tim Nelson from a band called Cub Sport. He posted that video on TikTok and he entitled it saying, "Singing Diet Pepsi for my 102-year-old Nana and her friends." And that got 4 million views on TikTok. Now, I admit, I think you probably admit as well, you may not know Diet Pepsi or who sang it originally. It's a woman called Addison Rae, who's very popular with young people.
With the young folk, yes. I mean, it's quite racy, quite raunchy, some of the lyrics. He's got a captive audience, unsurprisingly. And it's just gorgeous. And someone on TikTok replied saying, "Not a cell phone in sight, just people living in the moment."
That was actually TikTok themselves who replied.
Oh, it was TikTok. Okay, brilliant.
Yeah.
And then on Instagram as well, 250,000 views, 45,000 likes. Other comments from people saying the teaspoon clanking in the background, obsessed with this. And then a very long post from Miss Beck Wilkinson, who just said, "I hope you continue these musical visits. I used to take our kindergarten class to the nursing home and sing songs and play games and do art and things like that. The residents that had seemingly given up on life were smiling and interacting again. Those people are still themselves. Their bodies have just failed them. They deserve love, respect, and all the good things." I'm sure your Nana would be bragging about you to all her friends. And yeah, I mean, what a wonderful thing to do. Cost nothing, just giving up a little bit of your time. And it was just lovely for all of us to see as well. So I'm pleased that it was shared.
Absolutely lovely. And maybe we can go and do some swing dancing, Hannah, together at their home.
I'm not sure how entertaining or relaxing that would be for anyone in the audience you might have. But yes, I'm definitely, as I said, show me a stage and I'm always game. So yeah.
We could do maybe a live recording of Sorry Went Viral in front of a care home, maybe, or maybe not. Anyway, on that note, that finishes today's show. Thank you, particularly to Darren for taking the time to chat to us, and a really lovely range of stories that we've shared with you today. We'll be putting the links to all the content so you can watch them in full on our socials, including our YouTube account, including their social handles as well, so you can follow, discover, and see more of their content. And we will be back. We won't leave it this long next time between shows. I promise you, not 2 months or whatever. We'll be back a lot sooner. But great to be back, and we'll see you again soon.
See you again soon. Thanks, everyone.